Hello, everyone. Well, I wish we could just talk about the pleasant temperatures we're going to see across Nebraska today and the very warm temperatures we're going to see across the state tomorrow. But unfortunately, we've got to talk about the chance for severe storms both today and tomorrow as well. Now, 8 a.m. this morning, no rain around, but there is fog, particularly from Grand Island over to Omaha. And the thickest fog is around Lincoln, Beatrice, and Omaha. The kind of fog that can slow you down for that morning commute. So I do want to you to give yourself a couple extra minutes to get to work or school day. Remember to use the low beams on your headlights, not the high beams. Increase your following distance and, of course, drive below the speed limit. The fog will be gone by 10 a.m. this morning, and then, again, stay dry until probably about 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's when I want to bring back the chance for rain. Notice not much going on at 4 o'clock, but that's when the chance for some isolated storms will start to pop up. Before we start talking about that severe threat, let's talk about temperatures and winds. Not much wind at all in the eastern part of the state around Lincoln, Omaha. Can't even call it a breezy day. In the central part of the state, it will be breezy. Those gusts in that 20 to 25 mile per hour range. Out in the panhandle, still better than yesterday, but got to call it windy with those gusts 30, 35 miles per hour. Pretty uniform temperatures. I think many are going to be in the low to mid 70s this afternoon. Feeling nice. But again, the rain chance is coming back at 4 o'clock, and between about 4 o'clock this afternoon and 10 o'clock this evening, not everyone's going to see rain. Notice how the activity is going to be picking up by the time we get to 7 o'clock, but notice there's certainly gaps, so there are going to be some that probably even miss out on the rain. The problem is, see those dots of yellow and orange. There are going to be some storms that pop up. Any storms that do pop up could produce some hail and some damaging wind. That's what we're going to be watching for the evening hours. By 10 o'clock, though, notice not seeing those shades of orange so much anymore. And so I think the severe threat is over with at 10 o'clock. But that said, there's still going to be this period for the eastern half of the state during the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning where we're talking about scattered showers and still the chance for some weak storms. Talking about the morning commute tomorrow, a lot probably going to be dry. The best chance of rain right on the Iowa Nebraska borders, the best chance of rain for the morning commute in the Omaha area. The farther west you are, less likely it is that you're going to encounter showers or a weak thunderstorm. Then I think we're actually probably going to dry out in the late morning, but then we're going to have to talk about that severe threat coming back in the late afternoon and through the evening hours on Friday. Get to that in a second. Let's summarize both severe threats. Let's talk about today's severe threat. It is low. So we're not worried about tornadoes from 4 o'clock this afternoon until 10 o'clock this evening. We're not worried about flooding at most if you get right under a thunderstorm, which again, we're not going to have widespread thunderstorms, but those storms will be around in spots. If you get right under one, you might see up to an inch of rain, but that's not going to cause flooding. In a worst case scenario, again, more than likely if you get a thunderstorm, it's just going to be heavy rain and lightning. But worst case scenario, a storm could produce up to 50 mile per hour winds. And the slightly bigger threat is for a storm to produce up to quarter-size hail. So we talked about the timing and what the threats are. Where are these severe storms most likely? Well, anywhere in that shade of green or yellow on this map, there is the chance for severe storms between 4 and 10 o'clock. But the greatest threat is in the shade of yellow around Beatrice. The threat is lower for Lincoln, York, Grand Island, Kearney, Columbus, Omaha, but not quite zero. I'm most concerned about the hail and the damaging wind around Beatrice, but technically the chance is there for everyone. But more than likely, you're not going to see a severe storm this evening, but just a heads up. Now, the threat is higher, unfortunately, for Friday, particularly for the central part of the state. Notice a large area of the plains is going to be under the threat for severe storms, all the way from the Texas Panhandle on up to Minnesota and Wisconsin. But in that shade of brown is where the threat for severe storms is the highest. So notice that it does vary across Nebraska even. Notice the Panhandle not included in the severe threat, but particularly in the central part of the state, that's that level 3 out of 5 threat. And that does include North Platte, Kearney, Grand Island. The threat is lower around Lincoln and Omaha. What we're concerned about is from about 6 o'clock in the afternoon Friday till about 9 o'clock, some supercell thunderstorms popping up in that shade of brown, and that would be the greatest threat for hail and maybe some tornadoes as well. Then what's going to happen, though, after 9 o'clock Friday, it looks like a line of storms is going to develop somewhere around North Platte and then push to the east. Now, as we go through the night, it's probably going to get weaker and weaker, but that line of storm is definitely producing some heavy rain, lightning, and potentially some wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. And that could be happening pretty late Friday night. The question is, how long does that line of storms hold together? And does it hold together into the Lincoln-Omaha area? The chance of that line reaching Lincoln-Omaha is smaller than places like Grand Island, Kearney, and that's why the threat for severe storms in general is smaller. Of course, I will update you on all of this tomorrow morning.